Georgia Tech can beat Clemson, and that's the duh statement of the morning. You know it, I know it, we all know it. This is not the Georgia Tech team that, well, I'll get into how bad they were up until this point. But first, welcome to the channel. If you love talking Clemson football, hope you'll subscribe. It is free. And it means a lot. Thank you so much to each and every person out there who, who's subscribed up at this point. It means a lot to me. So anyway, let's dive right in. Haynes King is one of the main reasons I believe Georgia Tech can win. Just being honest. Georgia Tech wins games because they have a workhorse at quarterback. They did it against Colorado. They turned the ball over, I want to say, the first 3 drives of the game, of the season, giving Colorado a short field. And guess what? Colorado scored 1 touchdown. Now, credit Georgia Tech's defense. The game-winning touchdown was a designed run by Georgia Tech, and Haynes King, a guy who's big, slides right through there, takes it to the house like 40 yards. But there we go. There we go. And he is a guy that, I don't know, he probably won't make it to the NFL as a quarterback. They'll probably change him to a different position. But here's the point, folks, okay? I want you to hear this. The state that we see Clemson football at right now, Georgia Tech is the prime team to beat them. We've seen what Georgia Tech and the offensive scheme has done against teams like Miami, like Georgia. That Georgia team that we couldn't score on. Haynes King and Georgia Tech could do it. They could do it. You know it, I know it, we all know it. So, if that team can score on Georgia at will and take them to 8 overtimes, led by the quarterback, led by the field general, led by his physicality to where he will sacrifice his body, we would be naive to think they wouldn't do it to Clemson. Now, let's talk about Haynes King sitting out this past weekend, okay? And by the way, Georgia Tech is more than one player. But this guy is a difference maker. He is the X factor, followed by Jamal Haynes. But I want you to pay attention to this. They wear you down with a strategy that says we have this capability and this is what we're going to use to beat you, okay? You're like, Brian, that wasn't some great point. That's exactly right. It's an extremely simple truth. Georgia Tech, they may not have the talent of Oregon or Ohio State. They may not have the roster of Texas and the money to spend like Texas does. So what did they do? Well, Brent Key turns around and he's like, hold on, they hired me to coach this football team. I'm taking over a mess. You know, say what you will about Jeff Collins, but here's the truth. Jeff Collins took over a team that was running an offense that is very difficult to recruit for. Most schools in the country, save maybe 1A and 2A schools, are not running that offense. So you already have a difficult time recruiting players. Now you have to focus on recruiting a certain type of player that most schools, high schools, are not running that offense anymore. And so what does Brent Key do? What does he do? He says, this is the type of players that I have, and guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to scheme for the skill set of my players because they hired me to win games. As long as it's not illegal, as long as it's not unethical, my job is to win at all cost. Period. And that's exactly what Brent Key is doing. So while everyone else is worried about a finesse game, and if the receiver cuts it just the perfect moment, we're going to have the sweetest pass waiting on him. And if it hits the ground, or if it doesn't make it to the wide receiver as fast as we wanted it to, and the play was designed well, but it just didn't happen. Oopsies. That's not the Georgia Tech way. Now, I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but I kind of feel like Clemson's at that place right now offensively. It was a well-designed play. Cade didn't get him the ball. And by the way, Cade's supposed to give him the ball. Cade has made mistakes this year, all right? But I wished we had a little more Brent Key philosophy in Clemson, South Carolina, on how to win ball games, instead of getting so caught up in our way of doing things that we forget we almost lost to Troy, and Clemson did lose to LSU. Yes, it was only by 7. There's a lot of season left. But strategy is supposed to support the goal of winning. The goal doesn't supposed to be your strategy. The goal is supposed to be to win, and your strategy supports that. And when the strategy is not supporting that, then you have to question everything. Brent Key gets that, folks. And that's what scares me about this game. I've been calling it for weeks. This is a trap game. I've been calling it now for months. This is a trap game. Somebody said, you're overlooking Georgia Tech. No, I'm not going to sit here and tell you Georgia Tech's best football team in America, because that's not the truth. They are one of the most dangerous teams in America. Why? Because games like, well, Clemson, even though Clemson is not hitting on everything right now, Clemson, if when you see them on your schedule, guess what you do? You go, up. Yeah. Yep. We're bringing it. Just like us Clemson fans, when we would get a schedule, when the schedule was released in prior years, what was the first place? What was the first game you looked for? Florida State. That's what I did. Where's Florida State at? That's where Clemson's at. But Georgia Tech's not one of those teams. Georgia Tech's not like going through a schedule and going, oh, wow, we have Ohio State coming. Or we have Georgia. We're going to Georgia. We're playing at a neutral side against some really good football team. No. But Georgia Tech will ruin your season. Now, Haynes King, and I meant to say this just a second ago, and my mind totally went blank here. So Haynes King sat out of the game this past weekend against Gardner-Webb. Nothing is wrong with Haynes King. Nothing's wrong with him. I spoke to someone yesterday who has a connection to Georgia Tech and said they just sat him out. And I know that Brent Key said something along these lines. They sat him out just because he was a little banged up from the Colorado game. Duh. Did you see it? I mean, my God, he just made them pay. They knew what he was going to do, and they still couldn't stop him at 6'3", 215, 220, somewhere in there. And so they sat him out. Why do you think they sat him out? What game on the horizon do they have to make Haynes King sit? We'll find out in a few days. wanted to make sure that this guy's 100% healthy. There's no and by the way, if I sound like a Brent Key fanboy at this point, unless he just totally falls off the wagon in coaching, between you and I, yeah, I am. I admire someone who goes into a bad situation and says, "You know what? Compared to other schools, this is not ideal, but I'm not gonna give myself that out, and also my strategy is not going to become my goal. My strategy will support my goal, and I'll take what I have and work with it and create something really good." And that's exactly what Brent Key did, is doing, and what other coaches supposed to do. That's why I admire him. I mean, what's the old saying? If you wait for everything to be perfect before you act, you'll never act. It's something like that. I mean, Brent Key is the epitome of that. So they are resting him up for this Saturday. Now, listen, Clemson comes into this game as a 9.5-point favorite. The game kicks off at 12 o'clock on ESPN. It's in Atlanta. Jamal Haynes is the leading rusher on the team with 157 yards. You want to take a wild guess who's the second leading rusher? Haynes King at 156, and that's from I want to say the Colorado game. They've only played 2 games, and he sat out this one, so it has to be that. Yep. Yep. That's and then let's talk about the defense a little bit. Kyle Efford. This guy has 9 tackles on the season. You've got Akilo. I hope I'm saying that. I'm pronouncing his name properly. Has 2 sacks on the season. This game sets up like a nightmare for a Clemson team who is struggling offensively. Now you're like, well, Brian, you just talked about their offense being the key. You said nothing about their defense against our offense. If the strategy for our offense is anything like it's been the past 2 games and the majority of the past 2 years, Georgia Tech can easily beat Clemson. That's what I'm trying to get some of you to hear why I'm not so hopeful for the rest of the season. I gave Clemson's offensive strategy the benefit of the doubt, which I shouldn't have done. History said I shouldn't have done that, and I did it. I guess that made me feel like I was being a good person. No, I was spitting in the face of history. But Clemson has the talent on the offense. Okay, Cade's missed some throws. Cade has missed some throws. All right. At the same time, the offensive strategy has not lived up to a Clemson level of play calling. You know it. I know it. We all know it. And so I fully expect that offense that we've been seeing now for not just with Garrett. We saw it with Streeter. Some of you don't want to admit it. We saw it with Tony. When Tony and Jeff, the marriage was broke up and Jeff went off to be a head coach before Tony left. Well, we had DJ at quarterback. Sure. Okay. But offensive strategy just didn't look good. So you may want to bomb Garrett for this. And by the way, I've said this over and over and over. I don't call for people to be fired unless they do something heinous. I would like for him to realize that his plan he's been working for 2.5 seasons, or not 2 seasons, almost 2.5 seasons, it's just not producing. And he has the athletes now. So if you have the athletes and it's not working, You need to take a look over at Georgia Tech and see a team that they do have good athletes here and there, and then they have guys who can come in and fulfill a role. And Brent Key is a dangerous man because of that. And so, as I'm looking at this game, the reason I'm not talking about Georgia Tech's defense that much, yes, Clemson has the dogs. Yes, Clemson has the speed. Yes, they have all of this. And up to this point in the season, this very young season, but it looks a lot like the past. Well, I just named out several seasons now, 3 different offensive coordinators. I mean, I may make you mad here, and I'm not trying to make anyone mad. By the way, I have the comment section turned off so I can pay attention. I'm just going to tell you straight up, it doesn't matter if Clemson has the dogs. We're proving that over and over. I don't even know how you recruit on that. Hey, come to Clemson, sit on the bench. Come to Clemson and experience 3 and out. Come to Clemson, and maybe we get lucky and hit one beautiful pass to get everybody jumping up and down and screaming and going, see, we're fixing it, and then you go right back to it. I don't know how you do that. I really don't. By the way, I looked on, I was close to the sidelines the other day, and I saw some of those top running backs that we brought in, Easy and Gideon Davidson. They don't look amused. I won't say that about Davidson, but not calling out David Easy, he just didn't look amused at all. There's other players on that football team who doesn't look amused at all. And I wouldn't either. And Georgia Tech's defense, they're not the top defense in the country, but this defense can play. They can play, and they could definitely shut down Clemson's strategy that we've been seeing for a while now. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard. That's the reason I said what I said about LSU. LSU is a good football team. I'm not ready to anoint them as the number 3 team in the country. I need to see them play against a football team who has an attack on offense. Now, if they play a really good offense, and by the way, Florida doesn't count. And then they shut down a really good offense. Now I'm willing to sit down at the table to discuss LSU being a really good football team. They're a good football team. I'm not going to sit here and say really good. They still only beat Clemson by 7, and Clemson's offense, except for one specific drive, did nothing. So Georgia Tech can handle that. I've watched Georgia Tech play. They can handle that. And then you got Haynes King on the other side. Whoo. Ronan Hannafin better come in clutch, buddy. And I bring him up because he has been coming in clutch. Ronan Hannafin is I think he's my favorite player, maybe on the team now. The guy's just everywhere, but he's not like sporadic and spastic. He's like, wow. You know what I'm saying? This guy is crazy. He's crazy good. And he's crazy everywhere. I mean, he's just a talent. He's just a talent that you have to respect him. You have to respect that he is there, that he's where he's at, that he's in coverage. You may be throwing to his side of the field, and you may be throwing away from him, and somehow, Ronan Hannafin finds a way over there. Looking at the numbers right now, Ronan Hannafin is the leading tackler on the team with 18 tackles in 2 ball games. Will Helt, the leading leader in sacks, 2 sacks on the season. But those young men are really stepping up. So quickly get to the comment section. I'm going to get out of here. Let's see. I'm just going to call out names right now. Got Willman, Chase Henderson is in here. David Woody, Punk Hazard, Parker Henderson, Shane Bentley, Rob Ellen. Let me see who else. Give me one moment. I'm having one of those moments this morning. This is one of those moments this morning where it's like, I have a lot going on this morning. I'm just gonna be honest. You're gonna be like, wow, me too, Brian. And I'm not whining about it. I'm just saying it's just too much. Okay, Joey Cogdale. It's good. Cogdale. It's good to see you. Ruby Ridge is in here. Tim Jim Slim. We got Keith Louder. I'm hoping I'm saying that properly. Drew Garrison. Roger Parks. Good to see you. Roger Parks, Chase Henderson, Parker Henderson, and anyone else, please forgive me if I overlooked you. Thank you for supporting the channel on a monthly basis. You guys have been doing that for a while. Hey, folks, if you want to support on a monthly basis, there is a join button below this video, $3 or $5 per month. I made it really affordable because I know things are extremely expensive now. It's ridiculous. But I just wanted to make it to where, hey, if you wanted to participate, you could without breaking the bank. And I truly do appreciate that. Also, videos will be coming out this week today with predictions on my other channel, another college football podcast. The link is below. That's where I talk about college football as a whole. Last week, I didn't double down, but I said, hey, I could see Mississippi State beating Arizona State in this game. That happened. I said, hey, I see upset written all over South Florida beating Florida, and I can't really say that is an upset. They ended up doing that. I have the receipts from last week. So if you like talking college football as a whole, I hope you'll dive in over there. Folks, y'all